it's MK and I am here playing along with Iron Crafters Challenge, which is to use 50 enamel dots, as well as playing along with Scraptember 2025, where I am to add some florals. So I have 3 photos, and it is of this really cool net that I got to go over my garage door. So I'm going to try to use some of these art crayons to color in this extra scrap of watercolor paper that I have that's actually got my title on it, so I don't forget my title. So that's what the art crayons are for. I have all of my enamel dots, and then from the Hidden Creek collection, I pulled out all the bugs. I just thought it was perfect. And then from the Crafty Garden collection, I have a couple daisies to add because honestly, I didn't want to add any flowers. I just wanted it to be about the bugs. That's all I wanted to do, but I figured I needed a couple filler pieces, so I was going to fill in some with the flowers. So for my title, I'm going to double it up. I've got these foam thickers from Simple Stories, and then I have the tuxedos and tiaras from the thickers. It's black on one side and off-white on the other. I've already picked out my title. I had to configure an E because I'm all out of E's. So I took an F, and then I already had this little piece cut off from something to make the E. So the first thing I'm going to do, because this is also supposed to be a Mix It Up Monday, but we've been doing lifts lately, and the lift didn't work for my bugs, right? My pictures would have had to be so small, I wouldn't have even remembered what they were pictures of. So I decided to throw in our gelatos or our art crayons because that is what we are doing for Messy Monday to keep this as close to a Mix It Up or a mixed media mayhem layout as possible. But I just didn't post it as a mixed media mayhem layout because I'm not lifting the artist that was chosen for today. Does that make sense? I hope so. So here I'm just taking some crayons, and I saw a bunch of people coloring, and then they blend the colors in and they do all these things. But of course, they're doing it on paper that is gessoed. And so my paper is not gessoed. I just want to put color on paper. So that way I did not have to find a scrap or a color of cardstock for what I'm going for. Now, the thing that I have noticed the most about gelatos and art crayons and all this type of media is that they are light. I'm not getting the darkness that I prefer on some of my layouts or for me in general. Now here you can see that I'm going a little heavy-handed on the water, and my paper is starting to pill, P-I-L-L, or peel, P-E-L-L. I'm not really sure, but it's getting those little tiny divots and whatnot. At first I thought it was the art crayon and the little shavings left from the brush or from me pushing down really hard, but it's not. It's actually from the paper, and I've got it soaking wet at this moment. So for right now, there's not much I can do in effect to this paper. I can't get it any darker because it's just not happening. So I'm trying I usually do this type of technique with ink and my distress inks where I pick up the ink with the paper. So I'm trying it with the gelatos just to see what kind of texture I get, what kind of blotchies do I get, even though my paper is soaking wet, you guys. It does take quite some time for me to blow dry it dry. And then, of course, I come back and get it wet again because it just dries lighter than what I want it to. They're not dark enough for me. It's just one of those things where I prefer a darker coloring, right? And so right now it's looking like it's pretty dark. I'm liking it. I'm loving it. It is getting the darkness that I'm looking for. But then when it dries, it does dry a lot lighter. So there it is. Not exactly the color I'm looking for, but it does match the papers that I had. It just is missing the shadows. It's missing the dark. So I went with the darkest crayon that I had, which is this brown. and I'm going to paint on it and hopefully get a warm yellow color is what I was going for. And at first I thought I was getting it. At first I was super excited. Yay, I'm getting it. I'm getting that dark yellow that I'm looking for. And then I realized, no, I am just wetting the paper yet again. Soaking up this paper, peeling up the paper fibers again. Yeah, it's just not working the way I want it to. So I do have color. I did achieve what I wanted to achieve. However, it's not dark enough yet. It really isn't. So once I get past all of this and I go back to drying it again, see how much lighter it is now that I've added the dark to it? This is crazy town. And it's not even all the way dry. In fact, I ripped my paper there just a little bit. And here I had to go really super because it's really wet right there on the edge. So I decided to go with a guillotine trimmer because of how wet it really is. And my paper did not cut perfect. So now all of my photo mats are on the wonky side. I do have to cut off all of my white trim around my pictures just to get these pieces to match, because of course, you know, when you wet paper, it shrinks. It really does. So that is what I'm doing, but I had to get that darkness. I really did. So I'm going to go around all the edges with whatever ink is on this brown brush. I don't even know what it is. And it's weird because as you can see it, I don't know if the gelato is rubbing on my brush or if I am rubbing all the color out of my brush, that my brush actually ends up getting lighter in the end. So I'm not really sure exactly, but you can see that I still have a little bit of wet space going around all of my pieces. I'm okay if it rips. I'm okay if it's dark in some areas. I just needed that. I needed that shading. I needed that darkness that I was looking for, and the gelatos just weren't doing it for me. But at least I gave them a try. I do like being able to blend with the gelatos using my blender tools. It's not the darkness that I want. So just to let you guys know, I've been enjoying playing with the gelatos. I really have. It's been fun. But the art crayons are still something for me to keep testing, keep trying. Because the gelatos are dark, but the art crayons are not. They are on the lighter side. Okay, so now I need to get my photos, and here are my photos, and I'm just sharing. Friends of ours, I was having an issue because we kept getting wasps in my room. For some reason, the wasps were horrible this year, and I couldn't even focus. I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything, but I love having my giant garage door open in my work area. I just absolutely love it. And so, of course, friends of ours were over that day, and they were like, well, you need a bug net. And I thought, I don't want a bug net. I don't want to live like, I'm a beekeeper, because I wasn't understanding what a bug net was. And until I realized it's a big giant door, like a screen door around my garage. And I'm so super excited. And so this is day 2 of having my bug nets over my garage, and I'm just loving it because I can hear all the bugs outside. I can see all the bugs outside, and they're not in here. So anyways, I'm just super excited. It's just the little things now that make me so excited. So here I have decided that I was just going to make a line of enamel dots, and I don't want them to be perfect. I don't want them to look uniform. I just want them to be in rainbow color based off of the butterflies on this paper. So I'm going to start with green and work my way up to the super dark green. It almost looks like black. I'm not really sure what it is, but I'm trying to count to make sure that I have 50 dots on here, because that is what you need to do. Iron Crafter Challenge is using 50 plus enamel dots. And each one of these little sheets holds 160 some odd dots, right? 163, I think is what it said. So I'm only using one side of each color. So 4 times, gosh knows whatever, I don't know. But I ended up doing it like going onto my calculator and I had X amount of one color, and then I times it by 4 green and 3 blue, I think is what it ended up being. And I found out that, oh, I'm going to have more than 50. And if Tara wants to count, she can count, but I stopped counting. After the 2 green lines that I put on there, I completely stopped counting, and I just was like, nope, I'm good. I don't even. If there's not 50 on here, tough poo. There's tons of enamel dots, and I do actually like how it looked. So I forgot to pull out some yellow, and I didn't really like the yellow that from the Altenew because it was bright. They were sunshiny yellow and not this mustardy yellow that I love. I need to go back and see if they have a different color of yellow, because of the fact that I really do like the darker yellow more than I like the sunshiny yellow. But I'm pretty sure they'll all end up getting used at one point in time. Oh, see, I'm going to use all 4 of the blue dots. I didn't realize I used the darker one. So anyways, so I went into my Cedar House collection and pulled out some yellow dots from there. I didn't necessarily need all the yellow dots because it was just going up to my photo. I wasn't going to put any dots behind my photos. So that is where I am at for my photos. It was really hard for me to see my pencil lines because of the pre-existing lines that were already on the paper. So it was very interesting. This is the paper. This is paper from the Hidden Creek collection by Arden Creative, designed by Katie Pertite. And I am just, like I said, color coordinating it based off of the butterflies that she has here. So I didn't use the blacky dark green. I didn't use those ones. I used the dark blue instead. I thought it was the other way around. I apologize. That's my bad. I only used 3 of the green dots. So then I'm going to take all of these little bugs and same thing. I'm going to color coordinate them based off of the butterflies. So all of my green bugs are going to go down with the green butterfly. And then same with the yellow and the blue and the aqua. And then I'm going to save some of them because I have duplicate bugs. I'm going to save some of them and keep them for the other side of my title. So that way I've got bugs throughout my layout instead of just along the left side. I did without thinking, put this brown bug down. I was not even thinking about the colors and coordinating it just at the moment. So my brown bug is going to stay there for just a minute. And then I will end up moving him up next to the brown butterfly as well. So it just gives me a minute to realize, there he goes, up there. Yes, that's where he belongs. And he'll get a new foam dot too, because now he's not going to stick at all because he left his little foam dot behind. So I have to replace him with another bug. There he goes. Yay, all done. So much better. All right, fast forward through that because that was a lot of bugs. And now I've got bugs and butterflies all on my left-hand side. And then the other bugs and butterflies are for the right-hand side by the photos and the title as well. I did not pull out a whole lot for this layout, you guys, because honestly, I just wanted to celebrate how I don't have any more bugs. Like, I am so excited. No more. And I'm hoping it keeps out the birds, too. Did you guys remember last year where I took a picture of a bird flew in here? I thought it was kind of cool. The picture got a bunch of negative reviews about it, which is fine. It is what it is. It's not like I was going to keep the bird, but I thought it was pretty cool. She just comes in and says hi and then flew right back out the door. But I'm hoping that my little screen keeps the birds out as well. I know Roscoe is learning how to go through it. So there's a line in the center of the screen and it's magnetic. And so you can go through that portion of the screen to go in and out of the door very easily. And then they magnetize. It's a very strong magnet, by the way. And it magnetizes together. Well, Roscoe hasn't quite learned yet that he can just push his way out. He hasn't got it just yet. but I'm sure it'll be a matter of time before he realizes that he can just go right on through. All right, so my butterflies, I've got a little green one and a little brown one. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up the bugs. So my brown and yellow, and put all my green ones. I had tons of green bugs, you guys, and not very many colorful bugs. So I made sure that I mixed and matched them a little bit, but not to the point where they just looked weird having a green bug all the way up at the top of my layout, right? And now I'm going to go ahead and add these little daisies in. Like I said, I almost did not participate in the Scraptember prompt today because I didn't feel like I needed it. But my little butterfly and my little lonely bug up here really were lonely. They were. And I feel like these flowers were a good filler. I do end up cutting them apart because they're kind of weird. Almost like wild daisies. I don't know. They're just weird in my brain. So I've got an extra clump of something. And I don't really like how that one daisy is so far away from the bud that I do end up chopping it apart and replacing it and changing it up. I also have another bud that I'm going to use somewhere else, and then 2 other full-size flowers. But of course, I have to scuff up all the edges so that way it gives the flower a little bit of lift. I wanted it to have a little bit of dimension and not look so flat. So I went ahead and did that as well. And I like it, you guys. Plus, any imperfection that there is to these types of flowers or to the design of it, if it cut on the laser machine wrong or something, the little scuffing hides it all. It is amazing how much ruffling up the edges of something really does hide imperfections. And then it's meant to just look like this. All right, so I'm going to go through and glue a few things down, pop a few things up. And I really like how plain and simplistic this layout is. I like the addition of all of these enamel dots. They almost blend right into the background, but also show, I don't know, like a creepy feeling of bugs. Like they really do. It's almost like they're crawling all over my layout. And so, yes, I do enjoy the fact that, all these enamel dots just blend right in and give a good home for all of these little bugs all over my layout. So I had a blast playing along with this and documenting this. This whole layout was Janet's idea to document about my bugs and the fact that I had a big old pile of bugs from the Hidden Creek collection. So it worked out really well. And I love it. I really do love how the enamel dots really mixes well with my bugs. Okay. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, truly appreciate it. Don't forget to check out all the links that I have down below. I have a couple links for Scraptember as well as a couple links for Iron Crafter. And as always, I appreciate when you guys come and check out to see what I am doing. I appreciate it also very much. Thanks again, and I'll check y'all later. Bye.